Most people are great at starting things, but almost none of us are great at finishing them. We begin with excitement, energy, and clarity, yet somewhere around the 70–90% mark, everything falls apart. The project slows down. The motivation fades. The final steps feel strangely heavier than all the steps before them, and eventually the work joins the familiar graveyard of almost done tasks. Essays, videos, habits, workouts, business ideas, creative projects we never completed. This isn't laziness. It isn't lack of talent. It's a psychological pattern. The brain rewards beginnings far more than endings. We get a burst of dopamine when we start something new, but almost none when we approach the finish line. So we abandon the final details and chase the next exciting beginning. Samurai faced the same danger, but they had a solution. Zanshin, the art of full follow-through. For them, an action was not complete until the mind, posture, and intention had fully settled. The beginning was nothing. The end was everything. And their method can solve the modern problem of never finishing anything. Zanshin, often translated as remaining mind, is one of the most important principles in Japanese martial arts. It describes the state of full awareness after an action has been performed. A samurai never considered a strike complete just because the blade moved. The moment after the strike mattered even more. He remained alert, balanced, intentional, ready to respond, ready to finish, ready to return to stillness. This lingering presence protected him from danger and built a habit of complete follow-through. In modern life, we do the opposite. We treat the main effort as the whole task and mentally check out as soon as the difficult part is over. We relax too early, lose focus, and let the final steps decay. The action may be mostly done, but our mind has already left the room. Zanshin is the antidote. It teaches that the true completion of a task is not the moment we think we're done, but the moment we return to presence after doing it. Finishing is a skill, one that can be trained, strengthened, and applied to any project you start. One of the biggest reasons people fail to finish their projects is the sudden drop in attention that happens right after the main part is done. We focus intensely at the beginning, push through the challenging middle, and then, just as the finish line appears, our mind drifts. The brain shifts into a relaxed state because it believes the hardest work is complete. But this early release of attention is precisely what leaves tasks unfinished. You see this everywhere. We write something but don't review it. We build a project but skip the final polish. We clean a room but leave one corner untouched. We learn a skill but stop practicing as soon as we reach basic competence. The last 10% requires a different kind of focus, one that modern life doesn't train. Samurai understood this danger. They believed the moment after the action is when mistakes happen. So they trained themselves to hold attention until the task was fully closed. The strike wasn't finished with the movement. It was finished with awareness. This mindset is what kept their discipline sharp and their work complete. Another hidden reason we fail to finish is the emotional release. That happens once the hardest part of a task is behind us. After struggling, focusing, and pushing through challenges, the mind desperately wants relief. It feels the weight lifting and assumes the work is complete, even when important steps still remain. This early relaxation is subtle but destructive. The moment the pressure drops, so does our intention to finish cleanly. This is why so many projects end in a vague, messy state of good enough. The brain rewards us for surviving the difficult part, not for completing the final details. So we lose momentum right when discipline matters most. The last emails don't get sent. The last edits don't get polished. The final touches feel unnecessary, even though they shape the entire outcome. Samurai recognized this psychological trap centuries ago. To them, premature relaxation was dangerous. On the battlefield and in daily life, they trained their bodies not to collapse the moment effort decreased. Instead, they practiced retaining posture, focus, and breath until the action was truly complete. This taught them to resist that early emotional exhale, the very habit that weakens modern work. Zanshin is the discipline of staying fully present after the main action is done. It is the opposite of collapsing at the finish line. In martial arts, when a samurai delivered a strike, he didn't immediately relax. His body remained balanced, his breath steady, his eyes focused. The strike ended not with the blade's movement, but with the calm awareness that followed. This remaining mind prevented mistakes and built a deep habit of complete follow-through. Applied to everyday life, Zanshin reframes how we think about completion. A task is not done when the big effort is over. It is done when the final details are finished, when the mind has returned to stillness, and when nothing remains open or unresolved. Zanshin teaches that the final steps matter as much as the first ones, sometimes more. This principle works because it trains the brain to value the closure phase of a task. Instead of rewarding yourself too early, you learn to hold attention until everything is cleanly wrapped. Over time, Zanshin becomes a reflex. You naturally finish what you start, not through force, but through presence. Training Zanshin in modern life begins with practicing presence after the main effort ends. One of the simplest methods is the last-minute rule. When you believe you've finished a task, stay with it for one more minute. Read the text again, recheck the details, breathe, look around, and confirm that nothing is left open. This extra moment strengthens the muscle of closure. Another powerful technique is intentional detailing. After completing the core of a task, shift into a slower, more attentive mode. Edit the final paragraph, clean up the workspace, rename files properly, review your steps. These small actions signal to the brain that the task is genuinely complete, not abandoned. You can also use a closing ritual. At the end of study or work, write a one-sentence summary. Mark the task as done, or physically clear your desk. Samurai used rituals to teach the mind that completion is a state, not a rush. With consistent practice, these habits rewire your attention. Instead of drifting away early, your mind learns to remain steady until everything is finished. This is how Zanshin turns ordinary work into complete, confident results. One of the main reasons habits collapse is that people stop as soon as they reach good enough. The moment we feel a small sense of achievement, the mind relaxes and the routine loses structure. This is why workouts fade after a few weeks, why study sessions become irregular, and why daily practices slowly erode. We start strong, but we don't close strong. Zanshin brings stability back into habits by adding a clear finishing shape to every routine. Instead of ending abruptly, each habit gains a simple closure ritual that locks it in place. For example, after a workout, stretch for 1 minute and breathe deeply. After studying, write down one sentence summarizing what you learned. After working on a project, do a quick review instead of shutting the laptop instantly. These final steps are small, but they change everything. They teach the brain that a habit has a beginning, a middle, and a clean end. This structure prevents habits from feeling incomplete or chaotic. Over time, the mind becomes more comfortable repeating them because each session leaves a sense of order, not frustration. Zanshin turns habits from unstable attempts into consistent cycles. It closes every practice with intention and makes it far more likely you will return tomorrow. Creative projects suffer more than anything from the almost done problem. Ideas feel exciting at the start, inspiring in the middle, but strangely heavy near the end. The last details, color correction, final edits, proofreading, rendering, packaging, feel boring, unnecessary, or emotionally draining. So creative people jump to a new idea, chasing the thrill of beginnings instead of the discipline of endings. This creates piles of half-finished work and a constant feeling of being behind. Zanshin provides a clear solution. Finish small, finish fully. Instead of trying to complete the entire project in one perfect push, break it into small segments and give each one a clean ending. A paragraph edited completely is more valuable than 5 pages left messy. A rough version of a design finished today is better than a perfect version abandoned tomorrow. Another effective method is the ugly finish rule. Commit to finishing the current version even if it's imperfect. Completion builds momentum. Perfection can come later. Zanshin helps creatives move from scattered beginnings to consistent, satisfying outcomes. It replaces emotional chaos with calm closure and teaches the mind that finishing is part of the creative process, not a separate battle. When you look at all the samurai principles together, one idea stands out. Finishing is not an act of effort, but an act of respect. For samurai, leaving something incomplete wasn't just sloppy, it was dishonorable. An unfinished task left the mind open, scattered, and vulnerable. A completed task, even a simple one, created clarity and strength. This mindset explains why their discipline felt so steady. They treated the end as the most meaningful part of the work. Zanshin transforms finishing into a form of awareness. You don't rush the last step, and you don't escape the discomfort of final details. You stay with the task until everything is settled. The body calm, the mind present, the work closed. This presence creates order inside you, not just in the task. Modern life teaches us to celebrate beginnings. Samurai wisdom teaches something deeper. You become the person you are by what you finish, not by what you start. Modern life rewards quick beginnings, but rarely teaches us how to finish. That's why so many ideas, projects, and habits collapse just before the end. Samurai understood a different truth. Strength is revealed not in the first step, but in the final one. Zanshin, the calm awareness after action, is what transforms effort into completion. You don't need more motivation to finish things. You need presence. Stay with the task 1 minute longer. Review the last details. Close the loop instead of escaping the moment discomfort appears. These small, intentional endings train your mind to complete what it started, not through force, but through clarity. If this idea resonates with you, write in the comments, "I will finish what I start." And if you want more timeless Japanese wisdom on discipline, attention, and inner strength, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching. And remember, the final step shapes you more than the first one.